Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Awesome Sunday Show. Before we get started, we'd like to tell you where you can find us.
You can find all of our episodes, including new content like blogs and guest blogs, on our newly launched website, awesomesundayshow.com.
Woohoo!
Our podcast is also available on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can find all those links also on awesomesundayshow.com.
You can also follow us on our social media accounts, twitter.com/awesomesunshow, facebook.com/awesomesundayshow, and instagram.com/awesomesundayshow.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Hey everybody, welcome to Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
I'm Pat as well.
Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I smell like a pit, but
Yeah, you smell disgusting.
yeah, I just got out of the gym. And I thought we were recording at 5:30, but we were supposed to record at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little past 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get the time to shower, but I got my protein shake in, so I'm all
There
right.
you go. There you go. You get the protein acid farts.
Yeah. So if Pat's like sniffling, it's not because he has allergies. It's because I just smell.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of protein acid farts, happy Easter to all of you folks out there.
Oh yeah. No, it's perfect. That's exactly what I think of.
That is like the perfect transition on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy Easter to all of you who celebrate it. I hope you have a lovely day. It's supposed to be beautiful out.
Yeah. You know what's great about Easter too is that like it's always the holiday where you're consistently sick, even when you're a kid to an adult. Because when you're a kid, you eat the entire chocolate bunny and you're just fucking really sick because you ate too much chocolate. But then when you're an adult, you drink way too many mimosas, and then you're just really sick. And it's all because of that sugar. So it just never ends.
I can't say I've experienced the mimosa thing on Easter, but that's a good point.
Yeah,
that is the sugar.
Yeah, it's the sugar, man. I'm telling you, people don't realize like the hangovers is mainly because of the sugar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
And
either
it's the
sugar.
alcohol, too.
Yeah, sugar or dehydration. It's one of them. Anyway, speaking of those, today's episode is sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly mystery crate that delivers the best in geek and gaming gear, from collectibles, apparel, tech gadgets, art, and other epic gear. It's like Comic-Con in a box, which sounds really awesome. Like I said, their monthly subscription, you get for less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, all the apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. They do a theme every single month, and that's all the items in the box will be that theme. Around that theme, there was a Rick and Morty one a few months ago. That was pretty awesome. Some good stuff in that. And you have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. But, you got plenty of time to sign up for that month. And you know what? You should do it sooner. And you know what? By supporting Loot Crate, listen, you support our podcast. And, I'm sure you guys want to do that because you love us.
Yeah, please support us.
Yeah, so all you have to do is go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10, that's BRIDGE10, to save 10% on any new subscription. They got a couple different options. You got 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and a year. And you know what? I heard when you sign up for a year subscription, you get a free t-shirt. So that's
Really?
pretty awesome. Yeah. We like awesome things. That's why we call ourselves Awesome Sunday Show. And again, all you have to do is go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10. That's BRIDGE10. Save 10% on any new subscription. Thank you, Loot Crate, for sponsoring us today.
Yeah, Loot Crate, we appreciate your sponsor, but we also have another sponsor too. The episode is also brought to you by Gamefly.com. You can go to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome for a free 30-day premium trial. You know what's awesome about Gamefly, Pat?
Tell me.
Games are shipped directly to your door, including a pre-addressed envelope for easy returns. There is no contracts, and you cancel any time. You can have multiple games and movies rented out at the same time based on your membership. So even though Gamefly.com is closely associated with video games, which is awesome, you can get movies too, just in case you're not, you don't feel like being so into it. You just want to relax.
Free movies attached to your membership? That's a pretty damn good deal.
It's pretty damn impressive. If if I say so myself. But anyway, rent games online or through the mobile app, whether you're at home or on the go, just in case you see an ad on TV or on the street when you're driving. But don't text and drive. Rentals shipped arrive to the actual game release dates as well. So just in case a game releases, let's say on April 3rd, you'll get it there on April 3rd right in your mailbox. I think that's pretty cool. No more standing outside for midnight releases, and there's no due dates whatsoever. Instead of buying 2 or 3 games a year, you can get an entire year's worth of GameFly service and rent as many games as you want. No late fees whatsoever. If you like the game you rented, you can keep the game at a heavily discounted rate, and GameFly will send the original game case and manual at no extra charge whatsoever. Members receive huge discounts on used game sales. Never get burned buying a bad game or get stuck with a game that only takes a few days to beat. GameFly has over 8,000 games and movies, including new releases as well as the classics. Games available on current generation consoles like Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, but that's last generation, PS4, hopefully Nintendo Switch soon, Wii U. But we even go back to PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. I know those are classics for some people. I'm a little older. I'm more like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. But still, if you have those systems, GameFly's got your back. You can choose between a 1-disc plan for $15.95 or a 2-disc plan for $22.95. So, folks, if GameFly interests you like it interests us, remember, go to www.gamefly.com I'm sorry, I got to repeat that. www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome. I'll repeat that one more time. www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome for a free 30-day trial.
Great. Thank you, GameFly.
And the free 30-day trial is 1 game out.
There you go. All right, so getting into today's topic, a little while after it was released, but you had to painstakingly drudge through it.
Fucking A, man. It took me so long. It took me forever.
We're reviewing Iron Fist today.
Yeah. Every other show I watched, it took me like 2 or 3 days to finish. Because I would watch maybe 4 or 5 episodes in a sitting.
Yeah, but not this one. I wrote a blog about it on AwesomeSundayShow.com.
You should check it out.
But you also probably saw all the postings of the, let's say, less than kind critical reception to the show.
Yeah. This is going to be very spoiler heavy, and I'm actually kind of glad it's been a few weeks after, because now it's mostly everybody has seen it by now, and if you haven't, then it's your fault.
Yeah. So if you don't want it spoiled, if you haven't finished or even started, turn off now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to it. We do have a little bit of different opinions because, Connor, you hated it from start to finish.
Yeah, listen, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen by any means. In fact, there are some good things about it. I'm not going to ignore that fact. Just like going back to BVS, I hated that movie, but I will acknowledge there were some good things about it, even though it's a giant piece of horseshit. But I kind of feel the same. I actually kind of feel the same way about Iron Fist. There are some redeeming qualities I think they can build upon for the next season.
Right. Yeah, I, on the other hand, hated the first 4 to 6 episodes, but the back half grew on me, and I ended up, liking the back half and could have done. But there were still a lot of problems throughout the back half that I could have done without. But
some of the dialogue was awful.
Oh yeah, the dialogue is one of the biggest problems. Anytime, actually, you know what? The biggest problem throughout every single episode for me was Finn Jones as Danny Rand.
Yeah, he was awful. And I don't think it was the actor himself. I think it was
the material.
I think it was the material he had. And it's all right, so again, we're getting into spoilers. First off, I did not like Bakuto whatsoever. I did not like him. I understand Madam
Gao.
Madam Gao is probably going to be the villain for Defenders.
No. Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver? Okay,
yeah.
I actually like that. Okay, but still, Madam Gao is I get they want to keep her for future, future seasons of the show and stuff, and I get it. But dude, Bakuto was not interesting whatsoever, and they barely gave you anything about him, and he kind of sucked.
Yeah, you really don't know shit about him other than that he was Colleen Wing's sensei and that he was a leader of one section of the hand that was training their future, warriors.
And that's the one thing that the Marvel TV series are doing that I didn't mind so much in Luke Cage, even though it wasn't a very good thing, and it worked in Daredevil season 2. Was that they keep doing these villain fake outs or switching the villains halfway through. That's not the villain. This is actually the villain.
Yeah, or they just bring in a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what if you look at the first half of Daredevil season 2, it was like the Punisher, but the mob was it, and then the back half was the Hand.
But here's the thing, though.
Luke Cage, the first half was Cottonmouth, and the second half was Diamondback.
Right.
And then they had one consistent throughout, which Shades. And then with Iron Fist, the beginning was, Madame Gao and the Hand. The second half was Bakudo and his branch of the Hand. Plus, Harold Meacham.
Right.
Thrown in there too.
So it's kind of becoming formulaic, and I'm just like I'm starting to get it more. And
Well, I mean, a lot of TV shows in general, but like a lot of the superhero ones will do that. Like they'll have an arc. Like for instance, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season, the first half of probably first 9 episodes were about Ghost Rider and Molecule Man were like the main arc. Then they split it up for like it's still kind of going on now, but there were several episodes where it was all about LMD, life model decoys. And then now it's still that, but changed a bit that it's kind of its own third arc in it. The Flash, the first half of this current season was Dr. Alchemy. The second half is Savitar. They do that here and there.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I get it. They do it in other superhero shows too. But here's the thing with the Flash and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They have
23 episodes.
They have like 23 episodes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of needed because, especially because as much as I hate to say it, the villains aren't the main characters, the heroes are.
Yeah,
so
but
you need those episodes to flesh out the main character.
With an instance such as the Flash, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in its first half of its first season was like a villain or monster of the week. And the Flash, while it does have the overarching main villain, a lot of episodes are just the villain of the week.
Right. So it works that way. With Iron Fist, there's only 13 episodes. Or 12. 13.
Yeah.
There's 13. So I don't really... when they throw in multiple villains, I'm kind of just like, who is that? What are they doing? What's their motivation? How come they're doing this? And,
well, see,
there's just way too much talking in Iron Fist. Was another huge problem I had too. From start to finish, they just kept talking and talking and talking.
Yeah. Well, in the case of Danny Rand, serious whispering.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you told me that, and I didn't notice it really until the first 6 episodes. I was like, he doesn't do that a lot. And then the last 4 episodes, he fucking did that all the time.
When he goes to say something serious, he goes whispering like this instead of talking.
And when he talks about Bakudo, when Colleen Wing, first of all, one of the things I liked was Colleen Wing.
I thought Colleen Wing was awesome.
I loved her. I think her acting, the actress that plays her did a phenomenal job. I thought she was the best part of the show. And her character was great too because she actually progressed. She wasn't static at all.
Right.
And not like
she had a better arc than Danny did.
Yeah, right. Thank you. The show should have been about her. She was great. And when she opens up about Bakudo, I think it was maybe the second to last episode or something like that. Or maybe it could have been the last episode. And Danny Rand looks at her and goes, well, Bakudo's a piece of garbage. Really, dude? Did you just say piece of garbage?
Yeah.
But he didn't say it normal. He said it like he was reading from a script. I don't know. It just was so out of character. It sucked, man. I can't get over just how many and listen, no, all of the Marvel shows have had their issues. But none of them as great as Iron Fist. I can't believe I was so detached from a main character, and not to mention too, the show really was way more of a corporate drama than it was a martial arts show.
Oh, it spent so much time on it, and I get it. When he first comes back, he wants to do get control of his company again, or his parents' company, but it just was not. It lost its interest quickly. The most interesting part about it was finding out that the Hand has been using Rand Industries for
that was awesome
15 or more years.
There was good ideas there. It's just the execution was awful, and then the whole drama with the board was useless. It went nowhere.
Yeah, and if you think about it, a lot, the main conflict between Ward and Joy Meacham was only about the business. and a little bit here and there of like Ward's problems, especially like once he does the heroin. But their whole relationship was pretty much based all around the business.
Yeah, and also
which is was annoying.
Yeah, that was annoying. And like, here's the difference. It's like going back to the multiple villains, like changing a mid-season or having like a subplot like what Daredevil had with the court which was essentially like a courtroom drama. But here's the thing: in Daredevil, everything amounted to something. Like the courtroom drama always had something to do with what Matt Murdock was fighting, like as Daredevil, which was actually one of the things that shitty movie got right with Ben Affleck. Was it did get that right? I will give it that. That movie was almost good, but it ended up being bad. Like looking back at it, but Daredevil built upon that, and it did it both seasons, and it did it very well. And even all the decisions amounted to something as far as where it came to it affected him as Daredevil or it affected him as Matt Murdock. In Iron Fist, it was just annoying because he's like not there like ever. He's like he's in like one board meeting, and he's kind of in the company somewhat. Otherwise, he's in China, or he's like fighting on the street, or not fighting on the street, talking on the street, and then like throwing a punch, and all that stuff just happened to was with Joy Meacham and Ward Meacham and Harold Meacham, and it was about them. And I was like, okay, how does this affect Danny Rand? And it only really amounted something to the very end, but then there was so much to follow that they could have just cut out so much of it.
Yeah, it didn't like because I don't have a problem with having 2 villains in 13 episodes. What I do have a problem with is not with Bakuto, you don't give him background other than he's the leader of this part of the hand, this branch of the hand.
Yeah,
and then you don't get enough reason to care about him other than he's the part of the hand. Like Madame Gao, I think is way more interesting. And plus, I mean, we did have 2 seasons of Daredevil, which she appeared in. Yeah, she's cooler. She said she's years old, like a few centuries old, and like I would like to see, and how much she knows about the Iron Fist. I think that there was a lot of background there, and it opened up more interesting possibilities to her. But Bakuto is like, I'm this, kind of charismatic cult leader, pretty much, and I help these kids become, servants of the hand and, become ninjas who just, shape the world to how we want it.
And by the way, listen, if any of you fell for it, like I'm glad, because that way, like you at least enjoyed it in some sort of way. I knew Bakuto was evil, like literally, but the second episode he was in,
it was a dead giveaway.
It was a dead giveaway, like in the whole like this part of the hand isn't bad, but then yet again it looks like a freaking
it's a cult,
like one of those cults where you drink the punch bowl and you die when the comet comes over. Like I just it's like this guy's clearly evil. He couldn't be any more evil, and
right, and like the dead giveaway was that he knew about the Iron Fist and it's his powers. Madame Gao knew about the Iron Fist and its powers, and boom, she's evil. So it's just like, all right, that saw that coming, and then he was like almost, I don't know, too pompous in a way. Like he was, in my opinion, he was a knockoff of Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins.
Yeah, but except he was nowhere near as cool.
Right.
You know what else was really fucking annoying too is when Bakuto is showing Danny footage of like a previous Iron Fist from like the 40s or 30s from like one of those like 8mm black and white cameras, and like there was more action in that little off-screen like this is an Iron Fist from back in the day than Danny Rand did the whole entire goddamn show.
Not only that, but the biggest problem that stayed consistent throughout the entire thing, that which like I had a huge problem with, everybody had a huge problem with, because it was so poorly done and it doesn't make sense why, was the fight choreography outside of Colleen Wing. Choreography was horrendous.
Yeah, except for the elevator scene. That was pretty good.
The elevator scene was pretty good.
Yeah, I will give it that.
Other than that, dude, it was horrible. And I don't understand how you have terrible, terrible fight choreography for a kung fu master who was trained by ancient monks to be a living weapon for 15 years to defeat this army of ninjas, more or less is what they are. And the fight choreography is horrible. But yet on Daredevil, the fight choreography is phenomenal. And it's a blind guy.
Yeah, right. And what's so funny too is when they first introduced Daredevil, he's brought, like, they give you exactly what you want. He's brought in right into the action, and the courtroom drama is what progresses the story, and you find out more about his character.
Yeah, and not only that, but the courtroom drama is either related to the villain there, or like in the one in season 1 with when they were trying to force people out of the apartments. It had to do with the buildup. It had to do with Fisk.
Yes,
because he was forcing them out. The prosecution against Fisk, again, like throughout all of season 1 and season 2, the prosecution against Punisher, again, relevant to the main story.
Exactly. And with Danny,
and then other instances when they were in court that didn't have to do with the Punisher or Fisk, it has to do with Matt's personal development and the tension with Foggy of him not showing up, injured, or him just, not being there but not doing shit, and it builds tension and problems with Foggy.
I couldn't have said that any better, and that's the main difference between this. And I'm not trying to say, like, I'm not trying to be like, Daredevil did this, Daredevil did that, because, like, even if, like, Iron Fist didn't have to be as good as Daredevil. I just wanted to be good. But when you first introduce Danny, he's like a bum on the street, and it's like kind of funny, but like not really. And then the first fight scene he's in is in that in that room with all like the medical documents.
Oh God, and that was
horrific. Jesus. It was so bad, and like
it was like 50 cuts in 30 to 45 seconds. Different cuts from different angles. So like they didn't even really fight. And they threw a punch, cut, and it. I think they did it to try and hide how terrible the choreography was, but that only made it worse.
But I don't know if that was it, because you're shooting on location, so you have all those multiple camera angles. So did they plan that in the beginning? I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, when you're first introduced to Daredevil, you get exactly who he is, what he's there to do, and what he stands for right away, with no exposition, with just action. And that was so great too, was because I fell in love with it right away, because he not only was kicking bad guys' ass, which is what you want to see superheroes do, but you found out a little bit about his character with the fight itself. So there was actually some sort of character development within the action. Again, Iron Fist, I'm not trying to say it should have been as good as Daredevil or better, but, like, dude, it should at least learn some lessons from it, to where it's like, why isn't Danny Rand in a fight that actually, like, amounts to anything and shows you who he is? Because he's a fighter, and that's his character, and, like, I got nothing from it. And they gave, like, I feel bad for Finn Jones, because I don't know whether he's a good actor or not, because this is the only thing I've ever really seen him in.
I thought he was really good on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, he was on Game of Thrones. That's right.
Yeah, so Sir Loras Tyrell.
Yeah. So okay, and it's just like, I'm sure he's a good actor, and it's like they gave him shit to work with.
They gave him shit dialogue, situations, and you know what? Danny was an idiot from start to finish.
He sucked, yeah, and
he just he had from the very beginning, when he goes into this multi-billion-dollar corporation. Hey, I'm Danny Rand. I was believed to be dead for 15 years, but I want my company right now.
Yeah, and he talks to them as if they're like, hey, Troy, it's Danny, remember? Dude, if I was dead for more than 17 years, and I just was like, hey, it's Connor, remember me? You'd be like, who the fuck are you? And get the fuck out of here. He's surprised by their actions.
Yeah, not to mention, because when he was lost, he was 10 years old, or a little preteen, or very young into his teenage years, and people change significantly in those 15 years. In their physical appearance. So how would they automatically recognize him, especially, with his new curly hair and a beard and looking like a dirt rat,
Yeah.
So it was stupid. And then he was just ignorant, and he just made so many bad decisions that I don't understand, that I didn't feel sympathy for him.
Yeah, that's the thing, was they gave such a misconception of where he comes from Kunlun, which he says a million times throughout the series, that wherever he trained, that he was taught to be gullible, because that's all I got from it was his extreme gullibility. And Harold Meacham, when he that guy screams, "Don't trust me," just by looking at him.
Yeah.
Danny, how are you? We got this. Dude, He was such a villain to the point where it was funny. I was like laughing at how much of a villain he was.
Yeah, he's kind of over the top.
He was so over the top, and like, but that actually I didn't mind that, to be honest. That
No,
was,
I liked it.
Yeah,
But I also have a soft spot for him because he was Faramir in Lord of the Rings. So.
yeah, that's true. And he was in 300.
Mm-hmm.
He was the narrator, and he has the coolest line in that whole movie. Well, it's the second coolest line is when he gets stabbed in the eye. He's like, "That's why the gods blessed me with another one." He's
Yeah.
just like, "I'm gonna fucking fight. I don't give a shit." But yeah, I actually don't mind. I actually liked kind of how his villain played out. But then there was like the dumb episode where he's like reborn out of the swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
and he's like, "I have a son." And he's
yeah.
like playing
oh,
like with the
that
children.
whole thing, yeah, that I think was like the worst part about Harold Meacham's screen time.
Yeah,
was that it was
I
really
skipped
bad,
it.
dude.
I like fast forwarded. I couldn't watch it anymore.
It was really bad. And you know, with the Meachams, Joy starts off as a sympathetic character, really. You know, once she finds out that Danny is actually Danny, but she feels sympathetic for a little bit, and then she hates Danny. You know, for reasons beyond his control. She hates Danny because, you know, her dad dies again, or because just because, really. And at the end, when she teams up with Davos to take down Danny, it was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of just such an extreme jump from nothing. That was Danny's fault, really. You know, she blamed, which has some truth to it, to everybody's lives getting worse since Danny came back. It does have some truth to it.
It does have some truth, but she's such an intelligent character in the show that she can't realize that it was all her father's fault from the very beginning. If her father, yes, Danny coming back did kind of make everyone's lives worse in a certain way,
because it brought to light the dark side of what is going around.
Yeah, exactly.
Within their company and their
it
dad.
brought out Harold and who he really is, and that's if you can't see that, if Danny bringing out that light, then you're not the character that I grew to know.
You know what? Like, I know in the comics that Joy teams up to take down Danny, but at least there it had a more consistent and smarter progress to how it happened. Like a smarter stream of like moments and decisions and feelings that led her to do that. There was none of that really here.
Yeah.
Because she at one point she's like, "Oh my God, Danny, it's really him." So so happy, blah blah blah, and then it's just like, bam, hate him.
You know what? And what was so annoying too is, and this is the worst part about it, and a show about a kung fu master who can punch through walls, is that I never watched the show on. Bless you.
Thanks.
I never watched the show that I felt so bored with so many episodes ever. And like I've seen some shitty shows, but at least like I can say like they weren't boring, they just were bad, in some sort of way, because you're only like, if an episode is bad, it's only like a half hour to an hour, so like you're not wasting that much time. You're not sitting in a movie theater, or you're not invested in a 2-hour movie. There were some episodes where I felt like I was watching like a 3-hour movie, because there was just so much dialogue, so much nothing, so much filler, so many characters that literally were going through the same thing or something completely different from what they were the last episode, that it was confusing to keep up with. And like I just lost interest, and like it would be like a half hour and it felt like 3 hours went by in some episodes.
I saw
so bad.
one really good point made about this season of Iron Fist. That 4 episodes worth of material stretched across 13.
Right, and you know what? Anything only really happens the last 4 episodes, which is so funny.
Yeah,
I was thinking when I was watching it, what Danny's friend from Kunlun that comes, Davos. Imagine if the first episode started out with him coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then like everything kind of unfolds. Like through like either flashback or just by slight exposition, like how the Joker does it in Dark Knight with his past, and then have them just constantly fight the hand. But then the whole series is kind of Davos like splitting off, not just the last 2 episodes that like he does it like out of nowhere. It's just like kind of like gradually him splitting off, but then kind of they bring it down to like a minimal level, the corporate drama, but then it has something to do that's related to Danny Rand. The show would have been so much better, because there would have been more fight scenes. One thing, which is what I wanted,
Yeah, and you know what? Davos actually had like the best reaction to hating Danny, or
He
the
had
best
the most
reason.
reason.
Yeah, because he felt that he should have been the Iron Fist, which is probably true because was definitely a better fighter anyway, and you know he was being trained from birth. And he's pissed at Danny and goes across the world because Danny abandoned his post for what he was trained to be, which was the protector of Kunlun.
Yeah, that's so he has every reason to not like
Yeah.
Danny. It makes sense, and it was just like, fuck, like this is way more interesting, but they gave me nothing to be interested in.
Mhm.
It just was like it was like 2 episodes or 3 episodes. He talks about how like how he's the worst Iron Fist, and
It's true, seemingly.
yeah,
Because he abandoned his post, and we find out at the end that the Hand tried invading Kunlun, and Kunlun was gone. Like it disappeared because Kunlun, it's one of the 7 cities of or kingdoms of heaven or whatever, and it only appears on like the regular plane of existence every 15 years. The door opens. Otherwise, it's kind of enshrouded and like you can't get to it.
and if you're
or
inside,
leave
you
it.
can't escape.
Yeah. And Danny took, this opportunity to go back and claim a life that he thought he would have no problem getting back into as soon as he went. And that clearly did not work out in any sort of fashion except at the end, he's in charge. Well, pseudo, quote unquote, in charge of the company, even though Ward's running it. And Danny's kind of just there.
Danny owns 51% of the shares.
Yeah. So really, like, I don't know. And the Hand wasn't defeated, really. Like,
No.
Bakudo is still alive. The Hand is still operating. There's, we don't even know how many other branches of the Hand there is. Madame Gao is, again, released and still, in charge of her own faction, I'm sure. And we just find out that the Hand has a far greater influence than, anybody thought. They're kind of like the Netflix shows Hydra.
Yeah.
Because if you've seen Winter Soldier or any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you find out that Hydra has had its hands in like everything major since its inception.
Mm-hmm.
And, they keep uncovering more and more and more. And that's kind of what the Hand was, except this season really didn't, like, the only thing accomplished with the Hand is, hey, the Hand is out there. It has, not to, use the name of the group, but it has its hands in way more things than you could have imagined.
Yeah, but like we already kind of get that message in Daredevil?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, but now we know, like, the Hand, Sigourney Weaver, her character in the Defenders is probably like the de facto leader of all the branches of the Hand, or the most powerful one. Like, that's my guess. Which is fine as long as it's written better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. And, Sigourney Weaver is a great actress. I love her as an actress, so at least that'll automatically make it interesting.
Yeah.
But going back to Madame Gao, one thing that I don't know why they did it, even though, I like seeing Madame Gao in a bunch of episodes, was in Daredevil, she establishes that she has nothing, she's just not a member of the Hand. She doesn't have anything to do with it, other than that she worked, in the first season, she was working with Nobu as part of, like, the group that Fisk established. Like, that was her, association with the Hand. And then in this season, they're like, in Iron Fist, they're just like, oh, yeah, she's been a member of the Hand for, centuries or whatever. It's kind of just like, it's like the writers kind of ignored that, I think.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Or they may have just needed somebody without introducing a new character, or just have someone like throughout.
Well, we know they're
the
not
series.
good at introducing new characters on this. So,
Yeah.
one of my other favorite parts before we get into like Colleen Wing stuff was towards the end, once they're Danny, Claire, and Colleen are at the heroin factory in China. He fights the drunken guy, Zhu
Yeah.
Chang, who works. He's tasked to protect the heroin factory, and he uses the Drunken Fist martial art style. I thought he was really funny, and not only that, but he kicked the shit out of Danny.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then Danny came back and beat him because he's the hero. So he
Yeah.
should have.
And Zhu Chang throughout his history is known to, like, his main goal throughout the character's comic history is to eliminate the Iron Fist. Every Iron Fist incarnation, that's his goal. And, he was supposed to, fight and possibly kill Danny anyway. He just wasn't successful because Danny goes, "Oh, I must harness the power of the Iron Fist. I got it this time." There you go. But it was, Danny sucked ass in that fight and won, which was disappointing. But the actor who played Zhu Chang, Louis Tan, actually auditioned for Danny Rand. And I think he would have been a better Danny Rand. No offense to Finn Jones. He's a fine actor, but... or maybe Louis Tan probably wouldn't have been if the material was the same, or he could have pulled off the material better. I don't know. But, at least if Louis Tan was cast, people wouldn't have been bitching about making, not having a martial artist be white again for the white savior.
Yeah, but that's such bullshit that people are pissed off about that because he's a kid from New York that was in a plane crash over Asia. Like,
Yeah.
so what if he's white?
I don't know.
I wouldn't have cared
They
if
wanted
he-
to. They wanted people. Just wanted to see a diversification. I guess, even though the character throughout his entire 40, 50-year history, however long, is traditionally white, but a lot of I read a bunch of articles from Asian Americans and other ethnicities that were like, if they make Danny Rand an Asian man, it would have just kept going with a stereotype
Yeah.
that all Asians
No
are
martial arts.
martial art
Or
masters.
all Asians are great at math, or like just
Yeah.
So yeah, there's two sides to the argument, but it's just like, all right, so the guy knows martial arts and he's white, like get over it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the problem was that the material written for Danny was terrible. Like,
Yeah,
no
that
matter
was it.
what,
His character sucked.
yeah,
That
no
was
matter
it.
what, and I think that had an Asian actor portrayed Danny, people would have been pissed. Like, oh, they gave this Asian character such horrible material because they don't whatever. It would have been bitching either way. So it's not like it's that special. But some other bright spots in the series was Carrie Ann Moss back as Jerry Hogarth.
Yeah.
The small amount of screen time she had, she was awesome as usual.
She was great, but she was great in Jessica Jones too. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was great. I was glad to see her. Rosario Dawson as Claire Temple was back. This really this.
I didn't like what they gave her to work with, but I was really happy she was in there.
Yeah. I think Rosario Dawson did a great job with what she had to work with. for
Right.
sure.
I also didn't. I wasn't a huge fan of the fact that she was training with Colleen, but it also didn't really play so much into the story.
Well, I understand why she was getting self-defense training because she's seen some shit, especially after Daredevil season 2
Yeah.
and Luke Cage, where she came physically under attack by different
And she had friends
villains.
that died.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes perfect sense for her to get training, and I think that her training under Colleen was just like they wanted a way to bring Claire in without making it this huge stretch. Like, it was kind of a coincidental thing that she was training under Colleen. That, and she lives in that area.
Yeah.
So, I think that they just used that as a way to bring her in without establishing something else or bringing her out of left field. And going to Colleen Wing, I think Jessica Henwick was great. Colleen Wing was probably arguably the best written character.
She was the best written.
She
was also the best character of the show.
Yeah, her arcs were phenomenal. Her performances and her fighting was great. She had the best fight choreography in the show.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah, and you actually felt sympathy for the character. Her struggles before you find out that she's a member of the Hand, and you can even sympathize with why she became a member and what her ignorance to what the Hand was really doing. So you kind of understand why she fell in with them. You understand her struggles, both in her regular life and her life with the Hand. And she's just acted very, very well. They just had great material for her. One of my other favorite characters, even though he started off, he's still a douchebag, but he started off as a crazy douchebag, was Ward. Because I think he also had another solid arc throughout the entire thing.
But it dragged too long. If they kind of like with my suggestion earlier, where if they kind of cut it down, I would have been more invested because there was other characters I could have grown more likened to.
Yeah. Plus, I think the problem was like they made his story like the main B story for a while, and then they just forgot it for a couple episodes.
Yeah,
which I think is one of the reasons that it was dragged out.
Yeah, it was weird, and I did like that he was kind of a slave to his father, and he was powerless to stop it. He needed Danny, and you know what? I will give the show this is that Ward hated Danny the most out of anybody in the beginning of the show, but at the end of the show, he benefited from Danny the most.
Yeah.
So that was good. But you're absolutely right. But it was ruined because in the middle of the show they forgot about it. So I forgot about it, and when they came back to it, I was like, oh yeah, right. Ward hated Danny, but now he kind of realized he needs him, and
and
it was
his
dumb.
His arc with being under his father's thumb, even though his father was couldn't leave the penthouse and everything. And how he struggled to balance that, and how it was weighing in on him, especially because Ward even says before Harold died the first time, like he was still being overbearing and treating Ward like shit.
Yeah,
throughout pretty much his entire life, and Ward hates Danny. We find from a young age because Harold always viewed him with greater favor.
Yeah,
even though he wasn't his son. And then once Danny comes back and Danny finds out about Harold, even though Harold is doing it to manipulate Danny for his own purposes to free himself of the hand, Ward gets jealous because he's treating Danny with such favor and such love that Ward doesn't get, even though Ward does like everything he asks of him.
Yeah.
And then we find out that it wasn't the first time that Ward had struggled with abuse, substance abuse. And you can understand, substance abuse is terrible no matter what, but you can see.
You understand why he crashed onto it.
Yeah, why he went back to it, and why
years
he struggled.
Of pressure.
Yeah, why he struggled to get better, why he was so desperate to self-medicate, and his unwillingness to treat himself, get treatment for it, because he knew that it was under his he was still under his father's control even in that hospital.
Yeah.
And that he was powerless to and had to do whatever his father wanted, and then Danny saved him from that. And when Ward killed his father for the second time, you could really feel the emotion for that. And I think that Tom Pelphrey, who played Ward, did a great job throughout the entire season in each facet of how Ward was, from douchebag to sympathetic character, to in the end being a hero by helping Danny take down his father and take down the Hand and bring back Rand Industries and keep it afloat. His decision to let Danny still be a part of the company, but just have him understand that Ward, because he knows business, he's been doing that for however many years, went to school for it and everything, it's knows how to run the company. But he comes with an agreement with Danny, and they end up forming a mutual understanding and respect in the end,
which was good. That was I appreciated that much. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, as much as I hated the show, there are good things about it, and I think there's redeeming qualities for a season 2 if they were to fix it, fix some of the problems of the first. Well, most of the problems of the first one. It's just it's just baffling to me that all these side characters like Ward, Harold, Joy to a certain extent, but not really, Colleen, Gail, Madame Gao, not Bakudo because he fucking blew, Davos, who could have been interesting, but was not given enough time to be whatsoever. All these characters, I was I didn't hate. I hated Danny, and it was he's the main character, and he constantly is on screen all the fucking time, and it's he drags it down, and then when he's not on screen, it's a boring corporate drama that involves these characters that are their arcs are spread around too thinly because it's not just Harold's arc that was kind of just forgotten
Right.
as well, because they switched around so much shit. Like Harold's now Ward's now with Harold. Now Ward hates Harold, and Joy now knows Harold's alive, and then she's on his side. And then like
Joy
Ward,
was not involved in anything for several episodes, and then
Yeah.
she's thrust into finding out her dad is alive again.
which was dumb. And then like, I think the whole Harold being killed thing could have been cut out. That was a waste of time. Didn't do anything at all whatsoever.
Not to mention it was just so stupid.
Yeah, it was not. There was no
I have a son.
there was no payoff for it at all. He
Yeah.
comes back. I was like, okay, thank
Yeah,
you for wasting
and then,
my time.
The ridiculousness of him walking back into his company and just taking it over without seeing. He's been dead for a few years. He's been dead to the world for a few years, and he just strolls in and goes, "Yeah, all right, I'm back." And like, people are just, supposed to accept it, which I get. They live in a world where they know a demigod, the Hulk, and there was
Yeah.
aliens on Earth and stuff. But this is on a smaller scale and more personal level for people that it would just be like, you would question like, is that true, or like, can he just come back in because he doesn't, Ward and Joy have the shares, unless he probably secretly had shares, because we can tell that they show that he was really working the company from his penthouse, and had his hands in it too. But it's still just like the way they did that was kind of bad.
Yeah,
It was like Danny walking in saying, "Hi, I'm Danny Rand. This is my company. I've been missing for 15 years, but it's my company, and I want to be back in charge. I want to be in charge now." It's kind of like that.
yeah. That's actually a really good comparison. You had one dumb decision by another character, and you carried on to another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it was the same thing. Like, this person who was supposed to be dead for X amount of years, just shows up to the company and, has people believe, oh yeah, I wasn't dead for these many years. I was blank. And then, but I'm back to take over, be in charge of the company now, so it's good. It was the same thing, just different execution in a way.
Yeah, and just as silly.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Silly. There really was not enough action whatsoever.
Yeah, but it was all what action, with a couple exceptions, we did get was pretty bad. Like, even when Danny's going through the trials for the different warriors to save that the heroine creator's daughter,
Yeah.
those fights were lame as shit.
Yeah, they were super lame.
Like, when he faced all those warriors.
The poison one was like,
Oh, the shit, what's her name?
yeah, that was just boring. No, that's the one thing you can sum up the show is just boring. It's a boring show with boring motivations and bad dialogue.
Yeah.
It was a piece of garbage. I couldn't get over that. I said, what the fuck did he just say? And I rewinded it. Oh, and also too, when they're at the hand school, like the cult, and it's Iron Fist and Davos are fighting like all the students. Even that was like lackluster.
Mhm. And it had to do with the camera work too. I think the camera work definitely took away from it.
Yeah, it was. I didn't feel it was that intense. I actually the best part of that scene was when he runs into Colleen and sees that she closed the door for them, and I was like, oh, cool, like she's in it. Because I would rather see her fight.
Yeah. And a lot of people were saying that she would have made a better Iron Fist.
She would have.
Yeah.
She but not with the dialogue. They would have to significantly change a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the to give your lead and the face of the show and the namesake of the show the worst material to work with is like, why? Usually that falls on side characters or co-leads or whatever, but not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And you know what? I blame it. Even though I did like it towards the end, it picked up for me. I ended up liking it a bit. I think it ended. Its second half was better than Luke Cage's second half. I know that you liked Luke Cage's second half, so it's disagreement there. But you know what? I got this blame is on Scott Buck. Fuck you, Scott Buck. You suck. And if you
ruined Dexter.
You ruined Dexter. You did a really bad job with Iron Fist, especially the beginning. And you are in charge of Inhumans. And if you fuck up Inhumans, man, I'm going to go to your house and shit on your doorstep every day.
It's amazing. It's so amazing.
I don't understand how
like the show is. I can't get over it. I can't get over how much it sucked.
I don't know why Marvel gave him showrunner responsibilities for Inhumans, knowing like seeing the public reception of this, and like the severe dip in quality, especially for the first half.
Yeah.
Compared to the others, but even though its reception was really poor, its viewing numbers were like really, really well, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it's coming off like 3 very successful shows: Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. Daredevil, in my opinion, being the best out of all of them, but it's riding off that, and people want to know exactly what's going on into the Defenders.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, but actually, you know what? At the end, there really wasn't a connection to the Defenders. There was nothing to set up the Defenders.
No, it ends with Kung Lung not being there.
Yeah, and there's no lead into the Defenders, which is coming out in August. And, apparently Danny's supposed to be the one that brings the Defenders together, but there was no connection to it.
Yeah, hopefully in Defenders, like we see Danny's character progress more. We see
be written better.
We see a more likable side, and that was the thing. Like, it's not like we don't see like characterization of Danny throughout the show. It's just
wasn't good.
It wasn't good. Like, how can you like it? He's gullible. He's brash.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. He
can't fight.
Yeah, he looks like he can't fight. So hopefully with Defenders we get to see how he really works, and things that are likable about him are more fleshed out. And we get to invest in that more, because that's what I really want. I love Iron Fist. I really do. I think he's a great comic book character. He's classic. He's got a really he's at home in the Marvel universe now in the live actions MCU. And in the comics as well, and even in TV shows too, especially when it comes closely related to Spider-Man or the Avengers. I mean, even in Avengers vs. X-Men in 2012 or 13, while that wasn't the greatest comic series, like mega series of all time, it had a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best parts were on Kunlun, and and training Hope Summers there. And I thought that it was really cool how his mastery was incorporated in that. And I felt like I really got none of that out of Iron Fist, and I was really disappointed.
No, you could just the feeling that I got was Danny was not qualified to become Iron Fist.
Yeah, I guess I say I hate this just as much as BVS, but there's a lot more riding on BVS. It was Batman for fucking Superman. That's a colossal fuck up. This, while I love the character, and I was hyped for it, I'm more disappointed,
Yeah, understandably. And I kind of want them, given its viewership numbers, Iron Fist will most likely get a season 2. But I hope that instead of giving Luke Cage and Iron Fist season 2, they combine it into a Heroes for Hire season.
That would be a lot better.
I think that'd be way cooler. And, the Defenders is only going to be 8 episodes, but I think that they should have switched the episode order for this, because there have been complaints for each of the Marvel Netflix shows so far is that they're 3 episodes too long. Like, they could benefit from being 10 episodes or something.
I'm cool with that.
Which, and then, give Defenders the higher episode order, which I could see that be, it would work in favor because you would get less filler and, it'd be a more concise story, whether it's 8 episodes, 10 episodes, whatever it is. But, I think Iron Fist and Luke Cage, could have been shorter, and they should never have killed Cottonmouth in the first half and made. Yeah, well, it has a problem, but those are two series that could have benefited from being shorter.
Yeah.
And I was like, even though I love Jessica Jones, a lot of people had a complaint, which has some validity to it, is that because it was so long, the way that they couldn't just finish with Kilgrave right away, they had to give him reasons to escape and let him on the loose again.
It's very cat and mouse, Jessica Jones.
Yeah. Even though I'll defend Jessica Jones. I think it was excellent.
Yeah, I loved it too.
But Iron Fist, 4 episodes worth of material stretched across 13, I think was a problem. Even though, like I said, I did end up liking it
Iron Fist
towards the back half.
Iron Fist really, if like the way they told the story, because it was so dragged out, and I felt so bored. It could have been a solid 7-episode series if they really cut down what they really should have cut out in the beginning, and just if they wanted to keep what they wanted to keep and tell that type of story, which is fine. But you got to know your time constraints, and timing is everything, because people don't have a lot of time to spend alone. People have work, they have bills, they have families, they have friends, they have girlfriends, they have pets, they have lives. So like, you're really competing with people's time, and it's like, that's always been my major complaint with media and entertainment. It was like, why are you boring me? This is boring. Tell a more constrained story.
Yeah.
And listen, not that I have any problem with seasons of television shows at 26 episodes or movies that are like 4 hours long, but as long as it's interesting, then that's fine. I feel like I didn't waste my time.
And you know what? There was rumors a couple of years ago that instead of an Iron Fist series, they were going to make it into a movie, and still release on Netflix, but it might have worked better as a movie because it's instead of 13 hours, they hour and a half to 2.5 hours might have been allowed for more concise storytelling with this
more fights
character. But either way, I mean, the problems start with the showrunner Scott Buck, and then the writing too, and the fight choreography. I mean, especially early, those first 3 episodes were horrible. That was the worst.
I texted you. I was like, this fucking sucks.
That was the worst first episode to any show I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I cannot believe how I mean, I thought it was all bad, but right, the first 3 episodes were atrocious.
Yeah.
Like the worst part of the series whatsoever. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens that warrant till the end of the series. Maybe like 1 or 2 things, but like mostly nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've come bearing gifts. When Joy shows up to the house and he's got like oranges on the goddamn door. Dude, you were 10 years old when you got lost. You know culture, like, over in the United States. Like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. You know what? I find it extreme.
Not that it's stupid to do that if that's what you do and that's your culture, but what I'm saying is, like, that doesn't work. Like,
well, yeah. And
it's for someone who's not brought up that way.
That and a person who thinks you're crazy and invading their privacy like that.
Right, exactly. There was not... Bearing gifts like that is not a dumb thing. It's the way he did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I find extremely hard to believe? That his iPod from 2001 or 2002 survived an extra 15 years.
No, I believe that.
Especially in, the frozen mountains.
Nope, I believe it. Those things are insane. I got my 30 gig iPod, I think like 2005, and last year 2016 it finally died, so it lasted like 10 years.
All right, but not 15 years in a mystical city where who knows if they have electricity
but people are still rocking those, and like you go to GameStop and they're still for sale used, and they work, and like they're old as shit. I don't mind that. I actually kind of thought that was cool, because those things were known to last forever. They were like bricks. And they didn't even have like SSD hard. They had like little spin disk hard drives in them.
But they weren't lost in a frozen tundra and then.
I get it.
And like,
I think it's more of like
people brought that up for
there.
Guardians of the Galaxy with Star-Lord's Walkman, but he was on alien planets where they have crazy advanced technology that could make that thing last forever.
Yeah.
That's even more believable.
And like that kind of reminds me of that Rick and Morty joke where Jerry gets like shot to death with his pants down, like even like blasted through the head. and like he wakes up in the hospital, and they're like, yeah, like getting shot with a million bullets is like a splinter here. Like,
yeah, in an alien.
So
you know,
you're
super
right.
advanced
That
alien hospital.
point saying where he's in advanced alien technological cities is like they can definitely fix a
Yeah,
cassette
they
player.
can make that thing last
Yeah.
forever because the technology is so crazy advanced, and that's more believable. But whatever. All right, guys. I think we're gonna cap that off here. What did you guys think of the show? Did you hate it throughout? Did you think it got better? Did you somehow like those first 3 episodes?
Did you like the series? And if you did, tell us why.
Yeah.
I want to know why. You already know
Yeah.
why I hated it.
Yeah, and just let us know what you thought of it. Are you still excited for the Defenders? Do you hate Scott Buck like I do?
Do you like Zack Snyder like Pat does?
I do not. You do, and David Esquire. Yeah, let us know what you thought of the show, your biggest problems, what you like the most, and everything.
Also, too, I think to finish it off, we usually on the podcast we usually do like number ratings or something like that. But like 1 through 10, what would you give the series?
I would give the first 4 episodes a 0. Or 4 to 6 episodes, but I would give the back half 5.5 to 6 out of 10.
So overall, you would give it like a 3.
I mean, if you want to average it out, yeah,
Because I'd give it like a 2.
yeah,
it
but
was bad. It's bad, man. Like it's, I can't get over how fucking shitty it was. And your reasoning was perfect. Like I felt like I had good reasoning why.
Oh yeah,
You know,
no, like I completely get it.
Yeah, it
Either
just
way,
was I don't know. I get why a lot of people like the later half of it because it picks up a little more, but it did not pick up enough for me.
yeah, that's fine.
It actually
it's
was more
it's your own taste,
It was more of a tease than an actual pickup.
right? Yeah. Well, what would you guys give it out of 10? Or if you want to break it up by half, what would you give the first half out of 10, the second half out of 10? Let us know. And once again, thank you to Loot Crate for sponsoring today's episode. Remember, if you want to save 10% on your new subscription, all you got to do is go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10. That's BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription for this really cool service, especially if you're into stuff like us for this geek and gaming gear. And like I said, it's like Comic-Con in a box, and that's pretty awesome. And their monthly themes are pretty sick. Like they have
Sick.
like they have they've done Guardians, other Marvel ones, DC ones, Deadpool, and all these like random assortment of different things. So month to month you're always getting different stuff, which I think is really cool. So definitely check it out, and support the show.
Yeah, Iron Fist sucks, but listen, this episode was also brought to you by Gamefly.com. Remember, guys,
Which doesn't suck.
Gamefly doesn't suck at all. So remember, go to GameflyOffer.com/awesome for a free premium 30-day trial.
All right, guys, take it easy. Hope you
Peace.
have a great Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.